it is I, the great and powerful Jess, who is the god of this podcast, and I am here to tell you you should not be here. We are in quarantine. Get back into your house. But hey, if you're sticking around anyway, I should let you know that today's show is brought to you by the extremely kind donations by our donors over at Patreon. And now I am going to create life, and I am going to call you Andrew.
I didn't know we were doing Wicked again, but okay.
Andrew, tell us exactly why, who our patrons are, and what Patreon is.
Patreon is where we post a lot of extra content that you can gain access to if you'd like to donate to us and help support the show. Obviously, we mostly put these out for free, so if you can support us, that is very kind.
Are you going to promote the brand new thing that's going to be on there?
Oh boy. Are we talking about Glee? Oh no. So we're talking about every episode of Glee.
One episode at a time, every week.
For some reason, that is an idea that we are doing.
A completely separate podcast, only available to Patreon.
Yeah, and, well, I mean, if you know anything about Glee, you know that we're probably not going to like it very much.
All right, now who is currently giving us our finances for our content and is getting the horrible Glee feelings?
Well, we have Stephanie L., Terry Needleman, Max Lunig, Benjamin Lear, Lily Ackles, Mackenzie Horner, John Donna, Taryn the Duck, The Fantastic, Jess Lightning, Ewan Cassidy, Haley McDonald, Tess Gear, Fire of September, Mina Maniri, Monica Thoreau, Brent Black, Haley Murray, Allison Wonderland, B-Way Flicks, Nathaniel Stacy Coombe, Joseph Evans Green, Luna Rocks 222, Irigal Drew A. Whiter, Carrie Ahern, Christine Malmadel, Mezzanine Theater Diary, Mary Lou Choquette, Ann Nunnally, Cole Birchfield, Sam Caulfield, John Vanals, Holy Sticality, Russ Walker, oh, you spelled that wrong. Musical Hell. How did you spell musical wrong, Jess? Julian
I am God!
Bach
It is spelled the way I say it is spelled.
He spelled moisical, by the way.
And the sad part is she's been a guest on our show and we spell her name wrong. My bad.
Moisical Hell.
Moisical Hell.
Yeah, sorry about that, musical hell. And Julian Bach and Emily Grace.
These folks give us a little extra financial support that helps us keep the lights on here at Musicals with Cheese. If you would like to join them in supporting us and get tons of fun perks, come join us over at Patreon. All right, guys. And God said on the seventh day, let there be podcast. Hello, I'm Jesse McAnally.
And I am Andrew DeWolf.
And welcome to Musicals with Cheese, a podcast where I try to get Andrew to like musical theater. How are you doing today, Andrew?
Well, I just got back from Bible study. I've been attending Sunday school pretty regularly in the past couple weeks to prepare for this episode.
Though?
On a Thursday? We're recording this on a Monday, Jess.
So what did you learn in Sunday school, sir?
Well, we went over the book of Genesis.
Did you learn about the Apostle of Sonic?
I didn't read the Sonic Bible. I was reading the Christian Bible, Old Testament specifically. We went through. We started at the beginning, and we went through to the the Noah story.
I don't know.
But really, I'm feeling very passionate about this whole Christianity thing. And I'm ready to talk about this week's musical.
Okay, we're talking about Children of Eden, guys.
Can we say grace before we start here? Grace?
He just put his hands together in prayer and said grace. That was all he fucking did.
All right.
Oh.
Where is the innocence we can't regain? Once our eyes are open, the soul's eyes hardened, we lost in the wilderness, must we remain? Oh, my precious children, if either of us try not to blame us, we
1991 two-act musical with music and lyrics by Stephen Schwartz and a book by John Caird. The musical is based on the Book of Genesis, with Act 1 telling the story of Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve, Cain, Abel, while Act 2 deals with Noah and the flood. Though commercially the musical has been seeing very little success, it is popular in community and regional theaters worldwide due to its ability to accommodate a large or small cast, religious subjects, and its universal themes of family and love. Love? Okay, the show's publisher, Musical Theater International, reports that Children of Eden is one of the top 20 most frequently licensed properties. I mean, that's not surprising to me.
I'm sure there are tons and tons of Christian private schools that need a show to put on.
I mean, God doesn't really look like the nicest guy if you look at this script.
Yeah, but, I mean, it's not inaccurate to the Bible story, though, is the thing.
Yeah, for if anyone's out there who's like deeply religious and has like their deeply felt Christian beliefs, you owe this all to Lily Ackles, who asked us to cover this on the show. So if you're offended, blame her.
Yeah, because if we criticize the story, we're directly criticizing the Bible story. Because they don't stray from it very much at all.
There's so many inconsistencies in God. Like he's like an ex-boyfriend that's just real mad at everyone.
He's very mad, and he also commits a genocide. But whatever, we forgive him, and we all dance.
We all dance because everything's better at the end because everyone's dead.
Yeah, it's all good. The people that are the best people are still alive.
Yeah, but the one person that wasn't part of the best people almost got murdered.
Yep, I don't even understand why exactly God changed his mind about that. I guess, whatever.
We'll go into that. Andrew, I kind of want you to break down, because there's basically 3 stories going on here. You got Adam and Eve, you got Cain and Abel, and you got Noah.
Yes.
Break down each of those stories for us.
All right. I mean, I think everyone in our audience probably knows Adam and Eve's story. God creates Adam and Eve. Eve eats the apple, gets kicked out of the garden.
Why does she eat the apple?
Because it's shiny, and a snake says that it looks like it probably tastes good.
Well, no, it's specifically because she has a lot of questions, and no one's giving her no fucking answers.
Yeah, they bring in a bit of a modern slant to it there, where Eve is basically spouting off a few r/atheism posts, and
if Gaia created the world, who created God?
Like literally, and the snake's like, go on Reddit. I mean, eat the apple.
Take the red pill. Take the red pill.
Take the red pill. Don't take the red pill, guys.
No. You'll be banished from the kingdom of heaven.
Yeah. But and then God kicks her out, and in this version, Adam doesn't eat the apple, and I personally don't know if that's accurate to the Bible or not.
And God gives Adam the choice whether he wants to stay in Eden or go with Eve.
Now that might be accurate to the Bible. I'm not going to pretend I've read Genesis recently, because I have not. But if it isn't accurate to the Bible, it's because they wanted to create a recurring theme where each one of these stories has a
choice, a very important choice that either ends with being casted off or being murdered or not being done either.
And there's a few themes. I guess we'll get into the themes after, because there's a few themes that recur.
There's a lot of themes, but keep going. I don't mean to interrupt.
Cain and Abel it's still
sons of Adam and Eve.
Yes, and it's still technically Adam and Eve, because Adam and Eve are still there. But Cain and Abel, I mean, Cain wants to leave, and it's kind of the same thing again. Eve wanted to go out and see the world or answer questions, and Cain feels the same way, and he does, but he eventually comes back, and he wants Abel to come with him, but Abel kind of doesn't decide. He doesn't make up his mind fast enough, so Cain kills him. And then after that, he teaches
to get children every weekend, guys.
Yeah. And then
he bludgeons him to death with a rock.
Yes. And then the Noah story, there's suddenly just a bunch of people. They never really even explain where all these other people come from.
Adam and Eve's other son, Seth, found a wife from another village, like another tribe.
during the Cain and Abel section, they find a ring of stones that they say other people must have made, and they're just like, well, there must be other people around here somewhere. And then Adam and Eve have another son, Seth, after Cain runs off and Abel...
He didn't have a fun story about him.
Dies.
He just fucked a lot. Which, honestly, he's the most relatable Bible character so far.
Yeah. Well, Cain, sadly, is apparently so evil. I guess he is a murderer, but he is so evil, and all of his offspring and whatever are all over the earth, and God's like, I have to kill everyone. Because I hate Cain so much.
Dirty man seed in every woman. God damn damn it.
Yeah, so God's like, I gotta kill everybody, and then Noah and his family sneak. Well, Seth is the one that sneaks someone on board, or
no, Seth is
no, not Seth. Who? What is his name?
Baby
Shem?
boy son. It's Shemp, the other.
Yeah. Shem does it, and they sneak a person on board that isn't supposed to be there. So after
his
the 40
wife,
days,
he wanted to marry her, but she's a daughter of Cain.
Yeah. So after the 40 days,
it doesn't go away.
It doesn't go.
Raining.
The rain keeps coming, and they're like, "Oh, well, we gotta kill Shem's wife that we found on board that was hiding." And then they don't, and for some reason it stops anyways, and I'm not really entirely sure why. And God comes down, is like sitting up on his pedestal, and he's like, "Yeah, I killed the whole world." And then all of humanity starts to dance and sing, and that's the end.
It is a weird musical, and I think I liked it. Is the thing. I liked it.
I kind of liked it as well, but I feel like I like it for a reason that isn't. You're not supposed to like it. Like,
I want to know your thoughts. Like, so what are your thoughts on everything that happened and why you liked it and disliked it?
I think it's a very cohesive story if you look at it with God as the antagonist of it, like almost like a Guardians of the Galaxy 2 kind of thing, where like God creates things and then turns against his creation when they don't do what he wants them to.
And I think that's a brilliant way to look at this. Like, I think like a lot of the Christian college productions of this are never going to be good. They're always going to frame God as like the right moral center. But if you frame this as God as an angry boyfriend kind of character, like a straight out fucking villain, and the text almost supports that, like, I'm in.
I mean, the text kind of does support it. Like, every single bad thing that happens is because God is
got
being
his fingers in there.
He's being irrational for like he's like, I created this apple, and they're like, rightfully they're like, why did you do that if we can't eat it? And he's just like, don't ask questions. And then they eat it, and he's mad, and it's like, why are you mad? Like, you didn't even what? It doesn't make any sense. And then the Cain and Abel thing, like, God comes down and he's like, I don't want to talk to Adam and Eve, and Cain's like, well, you don't even want to talk to them? They've been wanting to talk to you forever. Like, what's even going on with that? And then the Noah story, like, I mean, well, God is an actual genocidal maniac in that story, but they don't portray him in that way. It's weird.
These grandchildren of this one kid that was kind of a dick, like, they're all horrible?
Yeah, it's like, literally, they're all so terrible because of this bloodline thing. And that's one recurring theme. What is this,
the fucking Star Wars trilogy?
Okay, one recurring theme I want to point out is, like, the bloodline generational aspect of this. Eve is the first person to break God's law, and then Cain is shown to be like Eve. Oh, you have your mother's eyes, etc. And now Cain is the bad one, and then Cain passes all the bad traits down. It's like only this one side of the family has this bad thing that goes on, and it's all generational. It's like bad traits get passed down to people. If you're bad, it's because your parents were bad, and that's because your grandparents were bad.
And if we trace it all the way up, it's God that was bad. Let's be fair.
I mean, if you want to bring it to a logical conclusion, and that's not even just this show, though. I mean, that is a biblical thing.
Yeah, that's Genesis. God in the Old Testament is a fucking dick.
I mean, you have original sin as the main concept of Christianity. And where does that come from?
God.
Adam and Eve. It all comes from Eve did a bad thing, and everyone who's related to her is also bad because of that. It's sins of the father passed on to the son. It's that's one theme. They also have this, specifically for this show, they have the theme of beyond. Eve sings about wanting to go beyond. Cain sings about wanting to go beyond. And I think Shem does as well, or the girl does. One of the characters in the Noah story also sings about wanting to go beyond, or getting beyond the storm or something like that.
Let me clarify this just before the comments start coming in.
Oh boy.
I said Shemp as a joke because that was the Three Stooges character that they kicked out. His real name is Japheth.
Japheth.
Japheta.
One of the family members in the Noah story is named Shem, so I thought that's what you meant.
No, I was making a joke about the other Three Stooges. I'm sorry.
Japheth is the one that did it. Okay.
Japheth.
Was he the one that sang about, somebody sang about going beyond again, because beyond is a recurring theme.
He was the one that wanted to marry the daughter of Cain.
It's always a character that wants to do something wrong, so it's always, going beyond is always framed as a bad or a negative action if you're looking at it as God is a force for good.
But where do we think the writers are behind this? Like, where do you think the people that wrote this fit with this? Because they gave God an arc. Like, I feel like God learned a lesson by the end of this, more than anyone else did.
I mean, he did in the way that I guess he's no longer genocidal.
I mean, he committed the genocide. Like, do you just need to get that out of his system?
I guess. Okay, I mean, the way God is portrayed is a bit odd in this, because they call him father. They don't call him God.
Call him like literally their dad, as if.
Yes, and he acts as if he is their dad.
Yes.
And he talks about how, they make me feel young. And I mean, if you think about it in like a literal sense, that doesn't make sense. Like, why do you need to feel young? You are eternal. Like, how would these creations make you feel young or old? Like, you literally exist for all time. Like, you don't have any concept of that. That doesn't make sense.
All right, can I talk themes for a second?
Sure, go for it.
From what I've watched and where I've experienced, I think the main theme and the overarching arch thematically is learning from your past self, or learning from the generations past. So we have basically 3 sets of father and child. We have God, Adam, and Eve, which is brother, sister, husband, wife. It's fucked up, but I didn't write it. So we have that, and he cast out his child and makes Adam make a choice between Eve and him. Basically,
that is one of the main themes, is the choice having to come back up. They even sing the same song each time.
Yes, they sing the same song, and they have the rhythmic beats of the people, like the chorus around them, as if to imply, like, here's the thing. And then it has Cain and Abel, where Adam is like, you don't leave me, Cain, or Abel, you're not gonna leave me. And Cain's like, come with me, brother. And he's like, I don't know what to choose. And then Cain just like, I'm gonna murder you instead. And because they made the wrong choice, both Adam and Cain made the wrong choice there. And learning from the mistakes, they made the same choice as God, forcing a choice that neither of them wanted, forcing a choice that would break them up. And then when it comes to Noah's like begging God for help, like, come on, like, tell me what the answer is. And he's like, I guess I gotta figure this out for myself. And he forgives and doesn't cast anyone out. There was no bloodshed. And therefore, God learns, forgiveness might be the way to go about this. Maybe let bygones be bygones and don't force a choice. So they learned from the mistakes of their past, so to say.
In a way, yeah. Basically, they learned to not split people up, I guess.
Well, don't force them into an impossible choice because of your own ego and insecurities and fears.
Absolutely.
Because God is the most egotistical, because he's like, oh, you listen to someone that isn't me. Don't you trust me? Didn't I give you everything? Didn't I feed you? Didn't I raise our child? Why you sleep with other men? Boom! Cast off. Because he is just gaslighting boyfriend.
It's true.
Abusive gaslighting boyfriend. The musical.
The strange thing is, though, because he is omnipresent and knows everything, it's almost like he can't be wrong, though. Like, he created everything, so how could he actually be wrong?
Well, those are the questions, like,
but he is.
You can't answer questions. This musical's against questions.
I'd like to think of it And if we put this into a non-real world perspective, where Father is not God, is more of just a generic deity character, like a Zeus or something like that, and we don't look at it as Christianity, like, oh, this is the omnipowerful, all-powerful, all-present, all-good God of Christianity. This is just a character that is able to create things. Then it does. That makes perfect sense. Your interpretation, absolutely.
Is it only because we see it as the Christian God that we have an issue forming that type of view of it?
Yeah, because I mean, anyone who's grown up around Christianity knows what the Christian God is. I mean, all good, all powerful, everywhere.
Can I tell a story that kind of ties into this, but is interesting in Christian faith? And I want to know your 2 cents about it, but I need the framing.
Sure. What do you got?
So I was recently doing a video shoot for this Christian community at work, and they have these meetings once a week where they just discuss the Bible. And one guy showed this video about like recurring themes and recurring locations and what they represent as like thematic ties and what they represent as like story narrative pieces in the Bible, what Jerusalem represents. And he's like, yeah, this is really cool, like how you got all these themes coming together. And someone raised their hands. Well, they're not narrative themes because these all really happened, you know?
It ruins the storytelling, honestly.
Yes, because the Bible has some really good storytelling, but they insist on saying this is real fact instead of a bunch of parables or plots that you like to learn a lesson.
It's like if it's looked at as literal, it actually loses meaning.
And that's kind of where I feel like I think the story of Genesis and all these have these really cool thematic ties and all that, but as soon as you start reading into like narrative intent into this Bible, people get pissed off.
Yeah, because if we look at, hey, the Noah story, God just killed everyone and committed genocide, and this is a character that you think is real and all good.
We had to murder fucking Daenerys on Game of Thrones because she did that.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, you can't simultaneously tell me someone is all good and committing genocide. If you told me that they are a person that can learn from this mistake,
right,
then maybe.
But the thing is, like, Christianity has become such an Americanized thing where we like to see things in very black and white imagery.
Yes.
And they refuse to see God as a character or as an actual existing human being. He must be all-powerful and all-knowing because he created us. Instead of like, yeah, we're made in his image and we fuck up a lot, so he must fuck up a lot.
Yeah, and if you look at religions of the past, or even ones that still exist that are pantheistic, mostly, I mean, nobody would say a character like Odin or Zeus is all good and all-powerful. Those characters are certainly anything but that, and make mistakes constantly. I mean, Zeus he just has sex with everything and constantly fucks up.
But that's kind of what makes them compelling, and I think that's the reason why God isn't compelling in most Christian narratives.
Exactly, whereas in this one, it kind of is because they're so willing to just tell the story as it's written down and not have to spin it where it's like, okay, well, God was always trying and doing his very best to be as nice as possible, and we just fucked everything up. It's like, no, he was kind of being an asshole.
He had his part in it. And I think it's when they put in the song numbers more than the actual like narrative itself where you really get the power of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And speaking of that, would this be a good time to go into the mid-show, do you think, or you got more to say?
I've got one more thing,
right.
And I think it's the one problematic element of this show, and I feel like we have to mention it.
All right, let's go.
It's kind of sexist, a little bit.
I mean, the Bible's kind of sexist, though.
Yes, but you can't go into this show and not expect that, so I just wanted to throw it out there. Eve is portrayed as the cause of most of the problems. There's the other woman character who is the cause of the problems in the Noah story.
The only one that's kind of like female-less is the Cain and Abel story, but then Cain goes out and fucks. He fucks.
I want to say that that's also not the case, though, because Cain is shown to have most of Eve's personality, and Eve sides with Cain, whereas Adam sides with Abel.
But are we supposed to agree with Cain, or Adam, because Adam doesn't get to say goodbye to God. Eve does, is kind of where I'm sitting there.
Fair enough.
Like, because who is our point of view character? I know that Adam comes first, but Eve is the one we kind of get to see inside, gets more songs, gets more of her side of things, where Adam's like, I believe in this, and I'm a dummy. Ah.
I'm just going around naming things in English and writing the names down because that's how the story happened.
Who created writing?
Adam created writing. No, Eve is just a more interesting character, but I feel like we had to mention it.
The Bible's sexist, therefore this show's kind of sexist.
The end.
And like even most productions, the snake is played by a woman.
The snake is a woman in the Bible. On the Sistine Chapel, the snake has tits.
What about the other 15 chapels?
Exactly.
Hey guys, we're sorry to interrupt you in the middle of your podcast.
ASMR.
But, you know, this show is brought to you by the extremely kind donations by our donors over at Patreon. Patreon. Now I'm gonna whisper these names into your ear so you know exactly who's giving us money, getting a Glee podcast from their donations.
Stephanie L.
Terry Needleman,
Max Lunig.
Benjamin Lair,
Lily Ackles.
Mackenzie Horner,
John Donna.
Taryn the Duck,
The Fantastic Jess Lightning.
Ewan Cassidy,
Haley McDonald.
Ta Secure,
Fire of September.
Mina Maneri,
Monica Thoreau.
Brent Black,
Haley Murray.
Alice in Wonderland,
B-Way Flicks.
Nathaniel Stacy Kumba,
Joseph Evans Green.
Luna Rocks, 222,
Irigale Drew A. Whiter.
Carrie Ahern,
Christine Malmedel.
Mezzanine Theater Diary,
Mary Lou Choquette.
Anne Nunnally,
Cole Birchfield.
Sam Caulfield,
John Vanals.
Holly Stistically,
Russ Walker.
Musical Hell,
Julian Bach.
and Emily Gracie. We hope you enjoyed that experience, and I hope you guys can conceal your erections at work. Wait a second, you're not at work, we're in quarantine. All right, guys, let's get back to the show. Also, this episode was recommended to us by Lily Ackles, and she wanted to say some things about why we're doing the show. So I'm throwing that in right here. Lily, take it away.
Hi, I'm Lily Ackles, or Ackles as Andrew put it in an early episode, or Ackles as Jess puts it, and I chose Children of Eden for this week's episode. I chose this show because it was the musical chosen for my senior year of high school. I thought that was interesting because most of the time you hear it's like God can do no wrong. And I like that it was like, well, I don't think God is the villain or the hero. I think he's just a little bit a person who has high expectation, but it's also setting himself up for failure. Because if he wanted everything to be perfect, why did he allow Eve to go to the tree and eat the apple or the fruit? So, and why did he allow the race of Cain to go on? I think he's trying his best, and with all these questions and people questioning him, I think he realized throughout the show, I'm not perfect and I can't control everything, which I think comes to a shock to most people because it's literally God, one of the highest powers in religious teachings, and I liked that because it kind of reminds me of seeing a bunch of CEOs on Undercover Boss. One thing I wanted to mention is that mentioning of Vine, whenever God said, Adam, we kept saying, Adam. That's what you get when you put a bunch of teenagers with the internet together. Well, that's all I have for my opinions. Thanks, Jess and Andrew, for allowing me to record this and for taking my request on this show. And I'm glad I've been your patron for about, I think, a year. But thanks for doing what you're doing. Hope you're doing good in quarantine. And if you want to follow me on Twitter. It feels weird saying that. But if you want, follow me on Twitter at LJA_0. It's my profile picture's on a axolotl stuffed animal. So anyway, thanks for having me. Bye.
Wow, that was great. All right, back to the show. What do you think of the opening number, Let There Be?
I mean, it's an okay opening. It kind of sets everything up.
As much as you can with this kind of story, with this anthology style.
I could have done with, honestly, more... Like, obviously they did the Let There Be thing, but...
That was a fun effect. That's like a fun, stagey effect you can do.
Yeah, they could have done it in, like, the order that's in the Bible, though. Like, they didn't really do that, you know?
I can't pretend I've read the Bible.
Oops.
Sorry, I didn't read the source material, dude.
Dude, the source material's always better. The book is way better.
I don't know. It looked real long and boring, you know?
Ironically, this show is probably much longer than the Book of Genesis.
Really?
Isn't the Book of Genesis like a couple pages?
I don't know. That book looks big. All the books of the Bible seem really big to me.
Gigantic. I can't read more than 5 pages at once.
And then there's like little text. It's not even like big text. I can't read like this. Gotta read up in the corner, the down lower.
There's no pictures and nobody's gonna sing it at me.
Yeah, I can't pay attention to a story if it's not being sung at me, Andrew.
True. What did you think of the opening?
I really liked it. I was like, oh no, this is pretty good. Like, as far as this goes, like, it's God and he's just making all this shit.
There's a lot of songs in this show.
There is, but the thing is, I feel like an Andrew here where they kind of blur together at a certain point.
They kind of all have a similar feel. It's like show tunes mixed with gospel.
Yeah, and it's not even like Godspell where you got a quirky like vaudeville number and like a ballad and all that. It's mostly just like songs you can sing at your church recital.
It's definitely part of the biblical canon of musical theater.
Yes, where does it fit in between Jesus Christ Superstar, Godspell, Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat?
I don't know. I've never seen Godspell, but this one is
just you wait.
This one's probably almost as good as Jesus Christ Superstar.
Mm-hmm. I'm very curious what you'll think of Godspell in comparison to Superstar. It's such a different piece.
What is Godspell about?
It's just the last days of Jesus, but it's told in like wacky way, like in a real like hippie way. Like,
it's all about Jesus.
It is, and it's by the same composer who did Children of Eden.
Look, you know what? I'm glad we got an Old Testament story.
I mean, wasn't Joseph in the Dreamcoat Old Testament, or maybe I'm crazy?
It is, but like, come on.
Because it was not long after the Bible began.
We're gonna count that one? Come on. No, we're not.
It fits right alongside it in tone and general appeal, like right alongside Children of Eden.
Okay, let's see.
The composer said this is his favorite musical and his personal favorite score. how do you think it lives up to Hunchback of Notre Dame and Prince of Egypt and, Wicked?
Honestly, the score is probably about as good as Wicked.
I don't disagree. I think that's the reason why I'm pretty sure I like this a lot. Like, I was enjoying what I hear.
Can we just say we watched a high school performance of this?
Yes. I mean, it was a good high school performance.
Honestly, it was the best high school performance I've ever seen of anything.
How many high school performances do you go to?
Every day I go to one. No,
hey,
but...
guys, if we make it to our $500 Patreon mark, Jess and Andrew are going to do a full-length commentary on one of Jess's school plays, so come on, join on Patreon, get us to that level.
Oh, let's not pretend either one of us wants to do that, Jess.
Yeah, it's going to be great. What are you talking about? People are going to love it.
Okay. Yeah, so let's not pretend that we didn't hear any voice cracking or anything like that.
But it still is good was
this.
the thing. Like, that's what I think is best about this show is kids can perform it and it doesn't sound terrible.
It's true.
Because it's written within a nice range that most kids can, sing it.
That's not an answer!
Bear your own children and serve for yourself.
We will!
Sweat to make your daily bread, while thorns and thistles mock your harvest. Sweat till the day you return to the clay, for which it seems you yearn. Dust you are, dust you were, to dust you will return. And at this place I set my sword forever will burn.
I feel like the songs that we should go through a little bit is the choice song, which is, what is it called?
The recurring one.
There's that recurring song, maybe the song where Eve discovers the word beyond by just uttering it, I suppose.
The Spark of Creation. That is her main
Yes.
song. The Spark of Creation.
That's a
Which
good
is-
one.
It become basically a favorite among audition songs, and it's a great audition song for a specific voice range.
What is another good one?
I love Lost in the Wilderness, the song between Cain and Abel.
Oh yeah.
That song is beautiful.
Lost in the wilderness. Is that how it goes, right?
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, that's a good one.
The songs are really difficult. We had so much more to say about the themes and all this, but all the songs are generally good. There's that's a big problem with musicals like this, and I don't mean Lily Ackles any problem when we say that this isn't a good show for us to cover, so to say, because we're just gonna talk about the story, but all the songs are yeah, that one's fine.
Okay, so the first song, the recurring song, the choice song,
The Expulsion.
that is a good one.
That's an amazing song. It's intense. It is probably the most modern theater-y song. It feels like Les Mis more than it feels like
Well, they
the
had to make
gospel-y
something.
feel.
They had to make something darker because this is where they first introduced the idea of making a wrong decision or being forced to decide something difficult. It's also the first choice anyone has to actually make in the entire show.
I know. But what do you have to make when you're in Eden? What is your choices?
So, okay, and I guess I'm gonna go back to themes here. One of the themes that I picked up from this, and maybe I was interpreting it wrong, is choices being a bad thing in general.
Yeah. Having to make a difficult choice, you always get fucked in the end. Adam really gets fucked. I think Abel gets more fucked by getting stoned to death and rotting in hell, but
Abel doesn't go to hell.
everyone went to hell in those days.
No, the Jewish faith believes that you go and sleep with your fathers.
I don't want to sleep with my dad.
I know, it's a little bit gross, but that's what they believe.
No, Dad, get away from me.
Yeah, but basically they have songs describing Eden as this perfect paradise, and then the second someone has to make a choice, it's like the worst thing ever to happen. Like,
Andrew, you have to choose between me, the podcast, and your girlfriend. What is your choice?
I choose God.
You're wrong. Boom. I dropped a rock on his head. He's dead now.
It's good though. I like that song.
What? How'd you come back to life?
To music sacred and profane. Oh, shed no tears for me, light no candle for my sake. This journey I've been making is one we all must make. Shoulder to the window, turn my face into the spray. And when the heavens open, let the drops fall where they may. If they finally wash away.
You know what song I really liked? And it comes like real late in the game, but I think it's like really one of the better songs in here.
Sure.
I love Stranger to the Rain. I think that is truly one of the more powerful songs in this, because you've got this girl who is literally the only thing she's ever done wrong was that her grandfather was like the great-great-grandfather was the wrong person.
Yep. And then and God has now decided that she doesn't deserve to exist.
Exactly. And then like the one that she loves tries to sneak her away and save her life, and they're like, nope, you're gonna reign forever until you die because you snuck on this girl. And she's like, you know what? Fine. If it means the world gets to live and my love gets to live, kill my ass. I don't give a shit. Like, and that's such a powerful idea, like an actual self-sacrifice, an actual powerful character willing to make that hard choice. Because that's the problem with all the men in the show. None of them are willing to make the hard choice. I think that's mostly it.
Yeah. And at least it's framed as her making that decision and not not her boy toy making that decision.
But the fact that she made that decision for herself, I think, is what the reason why Noah lets them be married, because he was just so impressed at her. Like, no, if it helps the world, I'll do it. And he's like, well, God ain't helping me. I guess I got to make this call myself.
Yeah. Okay. Enough about the songs. Let's talk about the set. Set design. Beautiful. Got God sitting up on a chair. It's great.
Specifically for this high school production, I would love to see a less literal production of this, where it's a little bit more like it could be just modern day even.
Oh, I love the picture of God sitting up in his chair while Noah is desperately calling for help. Like, I need help. Everyone in the world is dead except me and my family, and it's your fault. And God is just sitting in his chair. He's just like, nope, not gonna do it.
Pooping crown. Like, And
then there's just something surreal about the ending where they just all start dancing and singing "Ain't It Good," and God is just sitting up there, just like,
I've done well.
I've done well.
So super proud of himself. Not an ounce of guilt for anything he's done.
Yeah.
I'd be very interested in having a class perform this and them trying to understand God's motivation. So why is he killing everyone? Well, you see, these people are related to Cain, who was his grandson technically, but he was a bad boy.
Cain's evil seed.
His evil man splooge exploded into these children.
But from where I'm standing, they don't mean much. You lived in a land of benevolence. Well, maybe there your little rules made sense, but your words and your rules, they don't count out here. They're just one big long royal pain in the ear. I never made this world. I didn't even lose it. If you want to punish yourself, fine. I've got to find some moves. I've got to find some answers. The past is your garden, the future is mine. Don't be like me. But I'm lost in the wilderness. Snowblind lost, crying in the wilderness. And if anyone hears me, why the hell don't they answer back?
Andrew, do you think there's ever been a production of this where Adam and Eve have been full frontal?
God, I hope so.
An all-nude production until, like, Noah, because I assume they brought the clothes in.
No. They put the clothes on after they eat the fruit.
Yeah, because you've finally grown shame.
Yes. That'd be something they'd do on Broadway, wouldn't it?
In Hair, like, they've done shit like that, so it wouldn't be the most ridiculous thing in the world. But this show has never made it to Broadway. Why do you think this thing has never had commercial success, Andrew?
3 words for you. Book of
Bitch
Genesis.
ass pussies.
No, Book of Genesis.
What do you mean?
No one wants to see this.
Jesus Christ Superstar was a huge hit. Godspell was a huge hit. Book of Mormon is a huge hit.
Okay, Book of Mormon is a satirical piece.
And you mean this isn't?
I don't think so. This piece is very literal and just is incredibly serious.
I don't think it's sincere, though. I think that there's some satire to be had here.
You might be right, but honestly, if there is, I cannot say.
I think the score is too good that this should not just be kept in off-Broadway world. It's not something like Little Shop of Horrors where I feel like that kind of belongs off-Broadway. I feel like this should be on a big stage with a big cast and like really, really, I think this is one of the better scores by Stephen Schwartz. It's really impressive shit.
Jesus Christ Superstar and Godspell are both about Jesus. And Jesus is a much bigger name, like...
Than God!
Well, like, literally speaking, yes. In America, definitely. Like, people talk about Jesus all the time. How often do you hear people read about from the Old Testament? Like, people don't
Isn't
people
that
don't
what
care
Jewish
about that.
people do every week?
Yeah, but Jewish people, well, actually, they are a big part of the theater community, but at the same time, they're not the entire theater community, so...
That's more my point, like... I feel like there's no Jewish, like, representation aside from, like, Prince of Egypt, and that's not even on Broadway yet.
All right, there's got to be some Jewish theater company. Do this show. Make it happen for us.
No, I want this to be edgy. So I want, like, nudity. I want the blood to splurt all over the place when they fucking kill Cain or Abel.
Oh, yeah.
Make it, like, Sweeney Todd violent. Like, really don't hold back.
Can we add a song for the people all drowning?
Please save us, God. Ah!
And it's just the imagery of them all dying and God sitting on his throne.
Not feeling a thing. Like, man, that sucks for you, doesn't it? Shouldn't have come out the wrong man's balls. I mean, that's basically his vendetta against everyone that he killed was, you all came out the wrong man's balls.
Yeah, pretty much.
The question is, who made God? And no one ever answers that.
Just go on r/atheism. They have tons of answers for it.
The thing is, I'm not even an atheist per se. I'm agnostic because shit's too wacky out here for there not to be something.
Well, that means you're a deist, not an agnostic, but sure.
What's that mean? Explain the difference to me, theologically, Professor Mr. DeWolf.
Okay, well, an agnostic is someone who does not know. Agnostic is someone who does know. So if you say, I am not sure if there's a God, but I don't believe in one, you are an atheist agnostic. If you say, I'm not sure there is a God, but I do believe in one, you are a theist agnostic. You can't just be an agnostic, because it's like asking a yes or no question and you just answer, I don't know, or whatever. It's not really an answer. It doesn't really actually answer anything. Like, I would be a atheist agnostic. And most atheists are that. Because I'm sure you could go on Reddit and find someone who says, I'm an atheist, and I know for a fact there is no God, but that's not that common. And then most theists are Gnostic theists, because most theists would say that they do know for a fact that there is a God.
But even the strongest atheists, as soon as if we were given a bunch of proof that there is God, definitively, I would turn on a second. Like, if God came down, I'm like, fuck it, I'm on their team now. Immediately.
Well, I think we already watched a show that proved that wrong.
Did we?
Yeah. Did you forget it already? It's by the guy that got canceled on Twitter.
Max Landis.
What was the name of that show? Oh my goodness. They meet an alien that claims to be God, and they do a bunch of tests because they're like, oh no, it can't be
Dave
God.
Malloy. I forgot we did that. 89 episodes is a lot, guys. They all tend to blur together.
I remembered it better than Jess did.
We got canceled for that episode because it was so bad.
Whatever, I said what I thought I said, and I believed it, and I don't care.
That episode got us our first 1-star review on iTunes. Thanks, Andrew.
I'm not a philosopher. I'm a guy that watched a musical a single time and then talked about what I thought of it.
Please put that in the bottom of a poster one day. I'm the guy that watched this musical one time, and here's what I thought about it.
1 star. You didn't even understand it properly.
You didn't watch the 45 pieces of source material.
It's like, yeah, okay. Sure, I didn't understand it properly. I also watched it a single time. If I didn't understand it properly, maybe it's the musical's fault for not portraying the messages properly.
Did you have a playbill to learn the story before you watched the musical?
Oh my goodness, when you pulled that one out on me?
I didn't pull it out in that episode. I did not pull it out in that episode.
You should have read the playbill so you know the story. It's like, what? Shouldn't the musical tell me the story?
I think the point I was trying to make, and this was in the last 5 years episode, that in theater you're given a little leeway because you are given a cheat sheet, which is the only thing I said. And then you reacted like that was the most ridiculous thing I've ever fucking said in the world.
Okay, well, yes, it was.
Who died and made you God?
God.
Oh yeah, Jesus died and became God. I forgot about that.
Jesus was already God when he died.
No, he was man when he died. He became God when he died.
I don't know what that means, but okay.
So Andrew, what is your overall thoughts on Children of Eden and your cheese rating?
Children of Eden is a strange show, a very faithful adaptation to the source material, and it's got some good numbers in it, surprisingly. I guess I'm a little bit mixed as far as performance because we watched a high school version of it, but pushing past that, I think it could be a pretty solid show if it ever got to Broadway or even off Broadway in a better setting, I suppose. And as far as the cheese rating, I mean, did they have cheese back then?
Yes, they did.
I want to say like goat cheese because I didn't see any cows in the Garden of Eden. That's all I'm saying.
Andrew, I think you make a very good point here. Like I like what you're saying here. I agree with almost everything you're saying here. Like Children of Eden, high quality, very good. I see why Stephen Schwartz thinks this is his best score. I've recently listened to a lot of it. And I enjoy it a lot. Especially like Oogie Boogie playing God. I feel like that has to be an intentional choice.
See, that's a good call right there.
Yeah. So I'm like, this has some stuff to it. So I'm going to ask you a question.
What question would you like to ask?
This is Job 10:8-12. And did you not pour me out like milk and curdle me like cheese?
Oh, shoot. What type of cheese is it?
That is my cheese rating. That quote is my cheese rating.
That's... Well, what's the passage? You have to actually quote it biblically. Give me a...
Job 10:8.
Job 10:8 cheese rating. That's a...
Actually, no, let me... Job 10:10.
Job 10:10 is the cheese rating.
Job 10:10 is my cheese rating.
Honestly, that's like a good name for a cheese company. Job 10:10.
Do you not cuddle me like cheese?
I'm ready to stop talking about religion now. This episode has gone off the rails.
On a crazy train. And that is from the god of insanity, Ozzy McOsborne.
The god of insanity. He's a
But do you know who's not insane?
Most people?
Our wonderful patrons. Thank you guys for watching. We love you all so very much. We wanted to thank our wonderful patrons for sticking by us and sending us requests for musicals that Andrew has very little to say about.
I had a lot to say about this one. I just didn't want to go on
We just didn't have much to say about the songs is the thing.
We didn't want to go on Bible rants.
Yeah, we didn't want to make anyone feel bad during this. Like, our goal is never to make people feel bad.
Unless
we want to entertain you.
Unless you like David Hansen, in which case, yeah, you should feel bad.
Yeah. Y'all not allowed to listen to us.
We're just kidding, though. You can like whatever you want.
Yeah, like whatever you want. Believe whatever you want. We're not
just
here
assholes.
to tell you that. We have no authority whatsoever.
Believe whatever you want. There are no harmful opinions that exist in the world whatsoever.
That's a lie. I'm gonna disagree very harshly with you there.
All opinions are equal.
Nope, that is not true. There is not good people on both sides. There's not good people on both sides. Stop it! Thank you guys for listening. Please follow us on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, @Musicals with Cheese. Our Twitter is @CheesyMusicals with an E. Patreon is Musicals with Cheese. We have a brand new podcast on there where we talk about every episode of Glee each week. So each week we start a new episode of Glee. You're not going to want to miss out on that. That's a lot of fun. Our Instagram is Musicals with Cheese. Our YouTube page is Musicals with Cheese. Our email is musicaltheaterlives@gmail.com. Please check us out. Send us an email. We love you all so very much. Our title card was created by the amazing Jolene Casco. Please send us some love on Instagram @Jolene Casco. All right, Mr. Dwarf, is there anything else you want to say before we wrap this on up?
Yeah.
Is that it?
Jesus loves the little children, all the children of the world. Jesus hates you, this we know, cause Jesus just told us so.
You remember Lucifer? He is even spookier. Demons of Hades, have you heard the news? Andrew was caught playing hooky. Now he's damned with all you Catholic and Jews. It's super spooky ooky.
No, please, I don't want to go back.
Well, we'll see you next time on Musicals with Cheese.